Borthakur IAS Academy, an endeavor of excellence.
Borthakur IAS Academy.
Hello everyone, welcome to another session of newspaper analysis at Borthakur's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC and APSC preparations. Today we will be discussing some of the important news from the Assam Tribune dated 9th April 2021, along with some news from other different sources which are also going to be important from the APSC as well as UPSC point of view. In the description box below, we have provided the link for the e-paper of today's Assam Tribune so that you can download it from there. Please like and share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. So the first news is from the editorial section, and it is regarding the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. After President Joe Biden has been elected, during his campaign itself, he said that if he gets the opportunity to become the president, he would re-enter the landmark accord of 2015, which is also known as the Iran nuclear deal. Initially US joined the deal in the year 2015, but when there was under the presidency of Donald Trump, US pulled out of this accord, this nuclear deal, because Trump was against it, and also the other opponents who were opposed to this Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, তেওঁলোকে ভাবিছিল যে এই যেটো plan হয়, এই যেটো deal হয়, this is going to give Iran the opportunity to make billions of dollars, right? But that is not going to address Iran's support to certain groups, which are termed as terrorist groups by the United States, like the Hamsa and the Hezbollah, right? Tar logote they were also of the opinion that Iran has not been very transparent regarding its nuclear deals. So that was the reason why it pulled out in the year 2018. Iran nuclear deal hoy, also known as Iran deal, it was the agreement was done in Vienna on July 14, 2015 between Iran and the P5+1. 5+1 boli ekarne koa hoy because the 5 represents the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. They were China, France, Russia, UK, and US, along with Germany, and together with the European Union. So hekarne agote initially P5+1 nations along with Iran teolokor mazot a program to agreement hoisile in July 14, 2015, and after that 2018 US pulled out from this, and at that point of time Iran had to suffer economically, right? So hey karne there was a tension regarding this between Iran and US. Yar India kikhini consequence hobo pare, India ki face korisile he samoyot ba India position to ki hobo hetu ami discuss korim shortly, right? First ote ekhini kotha pati loisu. ইয়াৰ লগতে এটা যেটো মন কৰিবলগীয়া কথা হৈছে যে এতিয়া after Joe Biden has been elected as the president, they have both the nations have decided that they will soon begin the negotiations and will try to get back into this accord which limits the Iran's nuclear program. A particular যেটো program হয় ইয়াতে ইরানৰ নিউক্লিয়াৰ এক্টিভিটি, ইরান এজ এ নেশ্যন ইয়াৰ নিউক্লিয়াৰ এক্টিভিটিজখিনি কেনেকৈ লিমিটেড হয় বা কেনেকৈ ইৰাণে এগ্ৰি কৰিছিলে সেইটো আমি ডিছকাছ কৰিম। বাট মেইন কথাটো হৈছে যে ফাৰ্ষ্ট যেতিয়া Joe Biden elect hoisile, then itself even before becoming the president, right, during his campaign he said that he would re-enter this accord, right? And etia ei bostu tu loi pelai eta mane কোনে আগতে ইনিশিয়েট কৰিব, কেনেকৈ বস্তুখিনি আগবাঢ়িব, হেতুক লৈ পেলাই এটা দেৰি হৈ থকাৰ নিচিনা সিচুৱেশ্যন দেখা গৈছে, য'ত ইয়াতে আমাৰ এই পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ যেটো আৰ্টিকল হয় ইয়াত পেহলে আপ সিন্ড্ৰোম বুলি ইয়াক কোৱা গৈছে, ৰাইট, which has been operating in the relationship between the two countries. Who will initiate first? So হেতুক লৈ কোৱা হৈছে. So আমি এতিয়া চাই লওঁ যে what was the agreement all about, and what Iran agreed on, and how it was going to limit the Iran's nuclear program. So under this accord, which is also known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, right, Iran agreed to eliminate its stockpile of medium enriched uranium, okay, that will also cut its stockpile to low enriched uranium by 98%. Ami jano je how deadly nuclear weapons are, right? So yate jate Irane kono dhoroner enekwa terrorizing country এখন হৈ নাযায় for other countries if war like situation arises. So he karone Iranok a particular accord khonor joriote agreement etat ana hoisile the Iran, and also Iran agreed as well that it would eliminate the stockpile of the medium enriched uranium, okay. It will reduce the stockpile of low enriched uranium by 98% and reduce by a 2/3 of the number of its gas centrifuges for 13 years. 13 বছৰলে যিখিনি gas centrifuges হয় which are ultimately used for preparation of nuclear weapons, right? So they will reduce it by 2/3. 98% low enriched uranium. Uranium is very important for one of the important constituents of this nuclear weapons, right? So hey jitu medium enriched uranium or stockpile ase along with low enriched uranium or stockpile, hekhini they will try to eliminate or reduce it, right? And then in the next 15 years it will only enrich uranium up to 3.67%. Quote 98% asile and agreement khonor mote it was limited, it was reduced to 3.67%. And again aru eta jitu clause asile that was regarding the fact that it will not build any new heavy water facilities for the same period, 15 years or time period to bitorat kono dhoronor heavy water facility thaka kono dhoronor unit teoloke build up nokore boli, right? So ekhini a deal to a nuclear program to ekhini agreement hoisile, but because of the Baghdad airport airstrike, right, which killed the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani, 5th of January 2020 eta bahut dangor news asile, international affairs or news asile, right? Tetia Iran declared that it would no longer abide by all these limitations to deal, and also it would continue to coordinate, right? Coordinate in all these matters, which was like it was an open possibility of starting all these things all of a sudden, right? So he karne after that attack, after that strike which killed the Iranian general, Iran also it declared that it would no longer abide by any limitations which was agreed upon earlier in this accord, that is the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Now এতিয়া আমি চাম যে what are the implications on India of this US-Iran nuclear deal, right? Agor pora India and Iran, they have strategic interests, and that's why they want to keep the relationship sustainable, right? Aru yar consequence bilak ami tinta headsot sabo paru. One is energy, next is the Chabahar port, and third is stability in West Asia, okay, which is also a priority for India, right? Because like heavy amount of Indian population, Indian migrants, they live and work there, right? Aru military tension, West Asia military tension or karne it has forced Indians to evacuate its national in the past, right? So he karne stability in West Asia etu eta factor hoy. Then Chabahar port is like an important geographical location both from financial as well as strategic investment for India, right? Next slide khonot moi Chabahar, Gwadar port aru the Strait of Hormuz tar moi pictures share korisu, apnaloke dekhibole pabo. And also regarding energy, etu moi recently news share korisilue je until 2010-11 Iran was India's second largest oil supplier after Saudi Arabia, but now it has gone down one position, and now it is the third largest supplier after Iraq and Saudi Arabia. Next apnaloke yate dekhibo paise the Chabahar port, right? Mumbai pora eneke trade and commerce hobo pare through the port, through like India's port and to the Chabahar port of Iran, and also Gwadar port of Pakistan, right? So he karne strategically for financial and strategic investment Chabahar port is quite important. And also here you can see the Strait of Hormuz. Jodi Iran if it gets infuriated and it blocks the Strait of Hormuz, then this will become very, like, it will become globally it will affect the economy, right? And fuel prices will reach high points. These are the global implications. Indian implications or logote global implications ase. And this is a strategic choke point, right? The Strait of Hormuz, it is considered as a strategic choke point which can affect the world trade. It was already blocked for India, then it will affect the world trade, right? Because all these nations are they are on the other side of the strait. Or if I look at Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, ekhini countries ase, right? So this will result in suffering of giant economies like India, China, and Russia. And US has cancelled they cancelled the airlines from US to India in 2019 after US pulled out, right? And because of that it affected the airspace industry of India, right? So he karone India bahut khini implications ase aru tar logote it is also going to affect the world picture at large, right? So he karone a jitu joint comprehensive plan of action hoy, this is very important Iran regarding the Iran nuclear deal. And now can negotiations kori they both the nations would come to some point of agreement. Hetu ami recent development to dekha poa jabo, hetu ami discuss korim next jetia jikono update ahe. Next let us have a look at the Chhattisgarh Maoist ambush. Ambush mane hoise surprise attack, okay? And this is one of the deadliest attacks by Maoists in recent times in Bastar, Chhattisgarh. 2nd of April at hoisile, and this resulted in killing of 23 security personnel. Along with that 33 others were injured. Aru yat as on Cobra Commando, he has been captured by the Maoist, and now they are negotiating for his release. Aru a jitu attack asile, this was there was a combination of blasts and showering of bullets, okay? And that was done from, it was the attack was like targeted from a well captured positions, right? This was quite well planned, which inflicted heavy casualties, right? And tare jikhini survivors hoy teloke jetia nijor experience share korise, teloke koise je there have been more than 400 Maoists, and they were from all the three sides, right? And this has resulted in such a huge amount of casualty. Aru yar ei gute jitu issue hoy, this is such a painful incident. Ami dekhiye thako, just imagine the condition of those families of the deceased security personnel, and also those who are injured, right? So ei jitu issue hoy yar kisuman underlying reasons ase, aru hekhini kisuman tare kisuman points ami aji yate sam, aru how we have to deal with this problem, right? And how we have to move ahead. So a bostu to ami etia oloman lahe brief ke sai loisu, right? So first kotha to hoise government, the action of government, this is the foremost thing, right? Jodio eta downward trend ahise in the Maoist violence over the last few years, right? But even then etio hek hoi jwa nai. They, like, government is of the opinion that they have kind of declared that this particular battle against Maoists, it is almost won. But that is not the situation. Had that been the situation, this particular incident would not have occurred, right? So hey karone age to government or they need to be very sensitive in regarding these issues, right? So that is one thing. Aru A2 G2 Maoist matter hoy, this is one of the biggest threat to our internal security, right? Internally ami iman basic, because the mass population, right, they are also supporting somehow the civilians. They act as the eyes and ears of Maoists in the affected areas. Why is that so? A internal conflict to kyo ase, and why are the mass still supporting Maoists, right? So ehinit okol administration and government they can act as a bridge between both, right? And then they can come agree to some sort of agreement can be done in between both the parties, and this will finally stop such kind of surprise attacks and such types of harmful encounters, right? So ehini whole mass support ase. Aru another reason was the federal structure of our nation, right? And the resistance of the state government. Because of that, there is a limitation over the central government, and that's why the central jodi state or kiba hoy tete hole directly center go pelai enekwa dhoroner tate tackling to tackle the problem they cannot take necessary actions because of state resistance, and this is possible because of the federal structure of our nation, right? So ekhini hoise problems, and then there are also, if there are problems, then there will be solutions to it, right? So we can like focus on building infrastructure, right? The CRPF, they can like already they are doing a lot, no doubt, undoubtedly they have like helped in extending the roads, then the placing mobile towers. These are all really helpful, but even then olop to korbat etiao some sort of work needs to be done, right? So hekarne they can further penetrate deeper into the jungles and plant their camps there, right? So that this can help connecting the Naxal affected districts, right? And also it will speed up the connectivity process, right? It will speed up the connectivity. So building infrastructure can be done. Then also we can take examples of other states who have tried to tackle the problem. Andhra Pradesh is a very good example, right? Tare special force bilake, there is a greyhounds of undivided Andhra Pradesh, okay? It is a specialized force, and they have like tried to, and they have also succeeded in weakening the Maoists, right? So we can take example from Andhra Pradesh, and also the leadership of state police is very important, right? Since because of the federal structure of our nation, I already problems are mentioned koriswe. So how the state police reacts to these kind of incidents, these kind of encounters, so that is also going to play a very significant role in eradicating this whole Maoist issue, right? So India, like now, it has to be very sensitive in dealing with such problems, such encounters and cases, so that further loss of life does not take place through any kind of encounter internally, right? Amar jikhini defense force hoy, they are working for us, they are fighting for us. International borders kiman besi protect koriye thake. So enekwa dhoroner internal jate kono dhoroner conflict nohoy, and they should not lose their lives in such internal conflicts. We have to be very particular about it, and we have to work in such a way that these kind of situations it comes to an end as soon as possible. Next, let us have a look at the net zero and how India is reacting to this whole idea. So the US President's Special Envoy on Climate, John Kerry, he is currently on a 3-day visit to India. Aru yate he is trying to like bring back that climate change partnership, which was already there, okay, but it was kept on hold during the Donald Trump's administration, right? Etia net zero ki hoy ami hetu sam, okay, what is the net zero goal all about, and how many countries have already agreed to this particular concept, and we will see why India is not in favor of this particular goal, right? Why it is objecting to this particular idea. Although India is not totally opposing the idea of carbon neutrality, which is all about which is what net zero focuses on, right? India is not saying that it completely rules out the possibility of achieving carbon neutrality, but it also doesn't want to make a international commitment, okay? As ATI, jihetu in the next upcoming 2 to 3 decades, India is planning a lot of developmental activities, so that a major chunk of the population, right, it has to they can be elevated, right, from below poverty line. They can be elevated by providing them good employment opportunities, right, making good use of the resources. Aru hetur karone bahut khini developmental activity cover koribo India in the upcoming decades. So they don't want to make any international commitment as such as of now, and that is the only reason why India is objecting, right? So we will see what net zero is, and then we'll see why India is not very keen to accept this idea, okay? So first, let us see what the net zero goal is all about. This net zero means carbon neutrality, okay? It does not mean that particular nation will bring back its emissions to zero, which is not possible, right? Jikono development activity to hoboy, so it is not possible that for a country to bring down its emissions to zero, right? That will not happen, but in turn those countries, they can compensate, right? They can compensate by like proper absorption and removal of this greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. And carbon neutral nation hisabe carbon not neutral but carbon negative nation hisabe ami jano je Bhutan is a very good example of that, right? And so these kind of futuristic technologies, they can be used to capture carbon and store them so that it does not cause extra pollution, right? And also one more like important and very fruitful result bearing idea is increasing the number of forests, right? Forest cover jodi ami borhai diu, then they will act as carbon sinks, right? They will generate the carbon sinks, and this will help in reducing the amount of carbon, because removing carbon, as I already mentioned, the carbon capture and carbon storage, these are complex work, right? These are complex processes, and that needs high technological superiority, and jikono developing countries or karone it might not be quite possible for them, right? So hey karone the easiest way is to increase the forest cover of one particular nation, which is going to create more carbon sinks in that particular nation. So this was all about the net zero goal, right? India is the world's third biggest emitter of greenhouse gases after US and China, and it is the only major player who is holding out of this idea. So now we will see what are the reasons, okay, what are the causes which has compelled India to object to this particular goal, right? First is India is going to be the most impacted country. Jitu moi already koiswe je because of the uncountable numbers of developmental activity which India is planning in the next 2 to 3 decades, okay? So it is likely that the emission rate of India will increase, okay, because it will have to do that for higher growth and development of the nation and the millions of people who are dealing with poverty, right? So that needs developmental activity, and honestly no amount of afforestation or reforestation would be able to compensate for this large number of emission, right? Large amount of emission which will be done. Then also the expensive techniques which are involved, carbon removal, jitu moi koiswe je carbon capture and carbon storage, these are very expensive techniques, are both high futuristic technologies dorkar hoy, and going by that India it wants to point out that the developed countries, they don't have that much of money and technology to deal with to spend on this particular aspect of carbon neutrality, carbon negativity, right? Tatke besi they will focus on developmental activities. So beforehand enekwa dhoroner commitment kori pelai jodi rakhibo nware on a global platform, then that is going to affect their that is going to have a negative impact on our image, right? So hey karone a expensive technology jikhini dorkar hoy and which is not possible for developed countries, hetu India highlight kori dise, right? And also this was not a part of the Paris Climate Accord, right? The the net zero goal, it was not there in the 2015 Paris Agreement. Rather, etu asile je all the nations who are involved, they will try to reduce their emissions, right? They would try to control their emissions, and they would do on their part, they will try their best to stop environmental degradation or environmental pollution. So India is also saying that rather than focusing on anything new, okay, or going for any parallel discussion, they should try to deliver on what they have already promised in the Paris Agreement, okay. So this is the main reason. Tar logote India is also already doing a lot in this particular regard, because this goes by statistics that India is the only G20 country whose climate actions are in accordance with the Paris Agreement, okay, and the European Union, countries of the European Union or the US, okay, their actions are also not sufficient in this regard. So since India is already trying to work on it, and it has already tried to keep its word, right, on climate change and on the degrading environmental conditions, so India as a country, she doesn't want to make any more further global agreements, right? She wants to focus on what has already been promised so that it can be delivered at the within the due course of time. Now let us have a look at the capsule news. So the first news is regarding World Health Day. Recently, the World Health Day was observed, that is on 7th of April, and the theme for this year's World Health Day was building a fairer, healthier world for everyone. And this day has been celebrated as the mark of formation of the World Health Organization in the year 1948. The next capsule news is regarding Madhukrantī portal. A2 portal hoy, this is an initiative by the National Bee Board under National Beekeeping and Honey Mission. Okay, aru National Beekeeping and Honey Mission etu eta central sector scheme hoy, which was approved by the Indian government for ₹500 crores under the Atmanirbhar Bharat announcement, okay, for overall promotion and development of scientific beekeeping. Or scientific bee, the act of scientifically rearing of bees, it is known as apiculture, right? We all know that. And this particular portal, it is developed for online registration, which is going to help to trace the source of honey, okay, and also other beehive products on a digital platform. Now let us have a look at the questions for today. What is net zero? Name the countries committed to net zero. Number 2, what is repo rate? Question number 3, what is UNCLOCS? Number 4, what are OMOs? Discuss their significance. So this was all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and share, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I'll see you again tomorrow with another session of newspaper analysis. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
Borthakur IS Academy. Prostuti aru adhyayoner nirbhorjogyo thikona.
Borthakur IAS Academy.